Hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm Kathleen from the ZenART team. How's everyone? Okay, so today, hello. Okay, so today we'll be doing some watercolor charts so that no matter what colors you have, you know how they look like if you mix them together. It's really important to try your colors out and experiment mixing them together. Hi, Joe. Because especially I find this very useful for mixing greens, especially. You know, you sometimes when you're painting your florals and you need greens, sometimes some greens look weird with your flowers. You're looking for a specific kind of green, but you can't seem to find it. So creating your color mixing charts like this will really help you visualize it. Will show you which blues and yellows look good together for certain needs. So you're going to have a need for those different kinds. So it's always nice to have a chart that you can refer to. That way, next time you need that color, you're not going to be thinking, oh no, what was that color that I mixed again? You know, you're going to be spending time, wasting time just trying to mix it again. So having your watercolor chart really helps. And it also shows you that you don't need a ton of colors. You just need a limited palette and you can create so many others. So you can reserve your money for the colors that you actually use often. So you can buy those, like for example, certain greens or certain purples or whatever that you know you're going to be using a lot, then you can buy the tubes or the pans. But for the other colors, you can just mix them all from your existing palette. Okay, so actually we already have an article about this, how to mix your watercolors. Let me see if I can share it to you later before we end. So I'm going to link it later before I end this so that you can go and visit the article because it's very thorough. There's a lot of information there that you can read with photos, and you can even download this chart that I'll be using now. Okay, so let me just flip the camera down so you can see my desk and we can start. Okay. And then let me flip this around. Okay, so here I've already, here is the sample that I did before that you can find in the article that I mentioned later when I link it. So here I just, I didn't use all the colors in my palette. For example, you have 24 colors or whatever. You can just pick the colors that you're, hi Dawn, pick the colors that you're going to use that you want to find out how they look like. But you can also, of course, mix your entire palette. Sure, you can totally do that. Okay, so it's up to you. So you can just mix limited colors. You can mix everything. So this palette has 7 colors. So I chose to do 2 kinds of yellow, 2 kinds of red, 2 kinds of blue. So one cool and warm of each primary color plus Payne's gray. So again, it's up to you how many colors you want to swatch. You can swatch as many as 24 if you want. Only you're going to be needing a really big piece of paper, watercolor paper, or you can just you know, glue them, not glue, or maybe tape them together to create one big page. So that's what I would recommend, because again, you can download the chart and you can just trim the edges and glue them or paste them together so that you can have one big chart if you want to swatch a lot of colors. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, let's set this aside now and let's do our swatching. Okay, so for this I'm going to be using 2 palettes. Okay, for this first mixing chart, I'm just using the classical palette. Okay, so the classical has 12 colors, but I just picked 10 out of the 12. I didn't need to use the white, the black, and the orange. So instead, I used the colors lemon yellow, Hansa yellow, Pyrrole red, ultramarine up to here in raw umber. So I didn't include Chinese white, lamp black, and the orange. Okay, so now let's go and try it out. So here I've already labeled them. So on one side, I started with the yellows, and then red, and then going towards violet, blues, and then the browns. And then it's the same here. So lemon yellow. So how it goes here, it's the same here. So I don't mix it up. Okay. So now you will see that, of course, you will have two lemon yellows, and then they will meet here. So this diagonal line, you will have two colors. So you will actually... Oh, did the video stop? Hello? I'm not sure. Did it? Hi guys. Can you still see me? I didn't stop it, so I'm not sure. Hello? Okay, so I was wondering. Okay, so don't worry. So what I do is, like here, okay, the paint's gray on this side will be darker. The paint's gray on this side will be lighter. So as you can see, all the colors mixed below here are of lighter tones. You want that because you want to see how it looks like mixed deeply with more saturated, and you also want to see how it looks like with more water. So it's nice to have those the darker side and then the lighter side. Okay, and this center where the two paints gray, two Hansa yellows, those two colors that are the same would meet, I apply them really very lightly. So it also helps you separate the two. So you get to see your colors light wash. At the same time, it helps separate the darker side and the lighter side. Okay, so don't worry about the doubling of the colors. You actually want that because it will help you visualize your color and your color mixing from the really saturated mix of the two colors and the lighter version. Okay, all right, so let's start. Okay, let me set this aside again. Okay, so again, just a classical palette for this. So you can choose to mix your colors before you apply here in your mixing plate, or you can just mix them here on your paper. So it's up to you. So you can also choose not to do the dark lines and label with a pen. You can do it after, especially if you're not sure if your pen is waterproof. So in my case, it is. So I just already did it beforehand. So you can also clearly see the divisions in the video. Okay, so just choose your brush. I like to use a round brush for this. And then you can also use a flat brush, whichever you're more comfortable with. Okay, so I'm going to start with my colors on top first. So I'm just going to apply them all just so I can already see them. Okay, so let's start with lemon yellow. So just apply. Okay, so you want to see the color very saturated. Remember, this is the section where it's very deep, and this section is the lighter. So here I'm just going to add water to lighten the color. Okay, now let's just move on. Hansa yellow, medium. So this color is a warm yellow. You can also choose to wet your section each time if you want a wet on wet application. So you can totally personalize this any way you want to, depending on how you want to do your chart. You can also make the squares smaller if you want. Okay, I forgot to do the lighter one. Let me just do the red first. Okay, so take your time. This can actually be very therapeutic. You know, you can just do swatches and charts all day. At the same time, you actually get to know your colors better. Okay, let me just go back to the Hansa yellow medium and apply a light color. Okay, so different yellows, blues, and reds will make different colors. So that's what we're trying to discover here. We're trying to find out what kinds of colors we get when we mix our colors together. And sometimes you can really, not just sometimes actually, a lot of times you get to discover amazing colors that you never thought you would get when mixing two colors, that you discover only because you are doing your chart. So you get some colors that are just, wow, okay, that looks fabulous, and you know, you'll get to use it again because it's already been recorded in your chart. Okay, okay, I keep forgetting to do the lighter. Okay, let's do this. It's not, okay, so this is Cerulean Blue. So Cerulean Blue is your lighter blue. Okay, so try not to mix your colors as well. Like me, I mixed a bit, so it's too early for that. Okay, so we want this more like mid-tone, not too light, not too dark. Okay, let's do the violet before I forget and skip it completely. So what are you guys up to nowadays? Are you painting anything new? Or are you taking a break? I like to do this because if you don't know what to do one of these days, you can just allot the time to do your watercolor charts, especially if you're like me and I have a lot of colors. Then you can do this. You can spend the whole day, sort of meditate while you're doing this. Okay, next, Phthalo Blue. Okay, so there are lots of blues in this palette. So it's actually quite useful because it means you can get a lot of different greens as well for color mixing. And you want that, especially if you like to paint leaves and florals and foliage. So you want to be able to mix different greens. Okay, now let's go to Indian Red. So this is like a brick, kind of brick red, very deep. It's like clay actually. Okay, so again, the darker applications here and lighter here. Okay, so just get this down first. That way you can it will help you when you do your chart. So this is the first thing that you will do. And finally, for our last one, we have Raw Umber. Okay, so it's very methodical actually. So you're like doing an experiment and you're making a record of it. So typically, some people just mix black or white to their colors. Knowing which colors you can use to deepen or darken your mixtures will really help because it gives it more interest rather than just adding, for example, you feel like your red is too dark and you just add black. That's okay, you can do that, but sometimes but if you look at it really, it makes it also flatter. So if you want a more interesting kind of darker red, then instead you mix the opposite color, which is green. So doing this, it will show you what kind of red you get when you mix with certain colors. Okay, so now let's start with, like I mentioned earlier, this diagonal line where the two same colors meet will be a really light shade of that color. Okay, again, it's also going to help separate the two sections, and it will also help you visualize your color, what it looks like when it's really light. So it's like you have three tones: your very deep, your mid-tone, and your very light tone. Okay, now let's go and mix the Hansa yellow and lemon yellow. Okay, so lemon yellow meets Hansa yellow here. Okay, so let me just mix it quickly here. And then apply. So this is what we get. Okay, and then here we do the lighter shade of it. So you get two squares of the same mixture, and it helps you see how it looks like when it's really deep and when it's really diluted with water. So this is what lemon yellow and Hansa yellow looks like unmixed. So it gave Hansa yellow a more vibrant tinge to it. Very slight, but you can see it. Okay, so next let's go to Pyrrole red and lemon yellow. So everything with lemon yellow now. So let's do this strip first. Okay, so next let's do lemon yellow with red. Okay, so it's a warm, vibrant. Okay, let's make it a bit darker so that we can even see it better. Okay, there you go. And now let's add a washed out Pyrrole red and lemon yellow. Okay, here. Okay, next let's do lemon yellow and ultramarine violet. Okay, let me just wipe this off. Okay, lemon yellow. And ultramarine violet. Okay, so you also have to prepare your mixture so you can see if maybe you need to add more yellow or more purple. Okay, so lemon yellow and ultramarine violet. You get a kind of brown. Okay, so these are two contrasting colors, violet and yellow. So you will get a kind of brown or grayish color. So that is how you can also mix different browns. You can just mix two opposite colors on the color wheel and it'll give you a kind of brown. Okay, so I'm just deepening this. I'm just making this deeper. So you can also find out what the different browns you get from mixing your various contrasting colors. Okay, now let's go to lemon yellow and cerulean blue. So again, you can control the amount of yellow and blue that you add so that you can get whichever color you're looking for. Okay, so now cerulean blue and lemon yellow. So it's a really bright, almost neon-y kind of green. Okay, and then a watered down version here. Okay, next, lemon yellow and ultramarine blue. As you can see, it takes time, and you're going to be, mixing each square, but it will really show you all the wonderful colors. Look at this green, right? Awesome. Okay, so now next, let's go and use lemon yellow with ultramarine blue. Okay, so now you get a deeper green. So imagine they're all blues and green and yellows, but the greens that you get will vary so much that you would really actually want to mix another kind of chart where you just mix all your blues and all your yellows. Okay, next, lemon yellow with phthalo blue. Let's see what this blue gives us, what kind of green. Okay, that's too much blue, so I'm going to add more yellow. Okay, so phthalo blue and lemon yellow. So this one is like in between these two. It's more vibrant than this, but less bright than this. Okay, so this is phthalo blue with lemon yellow. Okay, and now we go to our Indian red, lemon yellow. So that's why I also like, I must have two kinds of yellows. I need a warm and a cool yellow because they will give you different mixtures. Okay, let's try adding a bit of lemon yellow to this. Let's make it warmer. Okay. And finally, lemon yellow with raw umber. Okay, so I'm mixing it here before I paint it here. Of course, you can try to add more lemon yellow if you want, or more raw umber, and see what that gives you. If you want to see more, for example, you want to see more of this, like the variations, because depending on how much of each color you add in ratio, it will of course differ as well. But at least it already gives you an idea of which colors you want to explore further, and adjust the ratios between the two colors that you're mixing. So it's a really fun experiment, and it's very useful. Okay, now it's Hansa yellow time with all the different colors. Okay, so let's find out. Okay, let me I think I need more space so I can just mix properly. Okay, so let me just clean my palette quickly so it gives me more space to work with. I really don't want to if I can avoid, because I can use the colors, but for now I need all the space. Okay. Okay, so some clean space here. Okay, so again, Hansa yellow. Okay, so take your time, because you have all the colors there, and it can get confusing at sometimes. Okay, so Hansa yellow, so just a really washed out, very, very light version of this. Okay, and now let's go to Hansa Yellow with Pyrrole Red. Okay, so if you mix red with anything, just, you know, be careful, because red is so vibrant that it can very easily overpower the other color. So just, you know, take your time and add red in little increments, small increments. Okay, so this is Pyrrole Red with Hansa Yellow. Okay, and now a lighter version of it. Okay, next, Hansa Yellow with Ultramarine. Ultramarine Violet. Okay, so again, remember, when you mix two opposing colors, it will give you some kind of brown. So already you can compare your two different browns, one using lemon yellow and one with Hansa Yellow. So Hansa Yellow gives a more chocolate brown, I would say, and lemon yellow more on the, it actually has like a greenish vibe to it. Okay, next, Hansa Yellow and Cerulean. Okay, so I hope you're not bored. I'm just really showing you step by step how it turns out, how the colors look like magically. They just create amazing mixtures. Okay, so Hansa Yellow and Cerulean Blue. Okay, so it's still vibrant green, but more subdued. Okay, see, I skipped one. Okay, but I still have the mixture here, so let me just fill this in. So you can already see the different browns, the different greens, the different oranges you get when mixing the colors together. So this helps you also find out if your colors are will give you vibrant counterparts. Okay, next, Hansa Yellow with Ultramarine Blue. Now let's find out what green we get from this. So very near here, but again, I think I would actually like this for the greens around florals. It's a nice subdued green. It looks very realistic. So you get to discover greens that you would actually want to use for your flowers, for example. So this too, Ultramarine and Hansa, I like the green that I got from it. Okay, next, Hansa Yellow with Phthalo Blue. Okay, so this is like a grass green. It's a nice green. Though I would probably add a bit of red to it if I would use it for leaves. Okay, next, Hansa Yellow with Indian Red. Okay, so let's see what kind of warmth it gives the Indian Red. Okay, let's add a bit more so that we can judge it better. Let's make this deeper. Okay, there you go. And now for the lighter version here. Okay, see that? I actually missed some squares, which I will fill in a bit. Okay, now let's go to Hansa Yellow and Raw Umber. Okay, so this is quite similar to the lemon yellow, but it's warmer. Okay, let me just fill this. I completely skipped over it. Okay, so lemon yellow and Indian red. Light mix. And then now Raw Umber. Okay, so it's very helpful to have the darker side of it and then the lighter, because you will know how they look like if you use just a wash of it or a deeper version of it. Okay, next we go to the reds. Okay, so now red, Pyrrole red is like your mid red, so even if you just have this, the one red, it's so versatile. Okay, so Pyrrole red and Pyrrole red. So again, just the lightest version of it here. So these are two Pyrroles meeting here. Okay, next Pyrrole red and Ultramarine Violet. Okay, let's see what kind of violet it gives us. Okay, very nice. Very vibrant kind of violet. Because sometimes you get, well, you will get different kinds, just like the greens, you will get different kinds of violets depending on what reds and blues or purples you mix together. Thank you. Yes, this is fun, right? You can totally do this for those days that you don't know what you're going to do. Try creating a chart for all your colors so you can get to know them. And you realize you basically need just at the most probably a dozen to start off with, or even just 6 to 8 colors. You can already do so much. Here we just have 10 colors, and we already have all these other colors that we have mixed from just 10. Okay, next let's go with what's next? Cerulean Blue. So Pyrrole red with Cerulean Blue. Let's add a bit more blue so we can get a more purpley color. Okay, so here you here you see a more muted down compared to this purple. So it's like a wine kind of purple. Very beautiful. Okay, next, red with ultramarine blue. Isn't it fun? You get to see all the different purples, greens you get, and oranges. I think the most your most used would be the greens. Okay, so ultramarine blue with oh wait, did I use ultramarine blue? Not sure. Let me just mix that again. Okay, Pyrrole red with ultramarine blue, which is here. Okay, so this is Pyrrole and ultramarine. Okay, again I skipped, so let me just do this. So 3 purples next to each other. They're all purple, but they slightly differ. So isn't it great? So this is Cerulean Blue. Just add Cerulean Blue here. Okay, next with Phthalo Blue. Okay, now let's see what we get. Okay, that's a bit too blue. So this Phthalo Blue is very strong. This is more on the green side of Phthalo Blue. There's also Phthalo Blue on the warmer side. So it's why you should also really mix your colors so that you get to see them better. Okay, so this is a very deep purple. So if you need a really deep purple, then you mix your Phthalo Blue GS with Hansa with Pyrrole red, and you get this nice deep purple. Okay, next, Pyrrole red with Indian red. Okay, sometimes I haven't done this for this palette, so I'm actually seeing some of the colors that I don't normally mix really for the first time. So this is also an adventure for me today. Okay, so Indian red and Pyrrole red. So let's see. Oh, cool. So now I get to see that it gives me a more subdued Pyrrole red, but still vibrant. Okay, next, red with Raw Umber. Okay, so try to wipe off your brush so that it's not too watery when you get the other color when you start with your deep mix. Okay, so this is Raw Umber with red. That's nice. I think this would be perfect for those baked cakes that have, you know, a reddish filling, like chocolate mixed with, I don't know, strawberries or something. It's like a dessert kind of brownish red. Okay, next let's go to ultramarine. Now we mix our ultramarine, our purple. So if you don't like to mix your purple color with other things, you can skip purple, of course. You can just do your yellows, reds, blues, and browns. But here I included ultramarine because I also find it useful to be able to use it with other colors. Okay, so ultramarine. Okay, so I'll need to again clean off my palette. Stay with me. It's like, no, all the colors wasted. That's why I'm just mixing small amounts, so I'm not crying inside too much. So I'm sure some of you who like to start with clean palettes are like, oh my gosh, her palette is so messy. But this is how I work. Okay, next, ultramarine with ultramarine. So we just apply a really thin wash of it here. So it's nice because this division really helps you separate the two. Okay, next, ultramarine with cerulean blue. So the ultramarine was kind of strong, so I added a bit more of the cerulean. Okay, and we get this nice deep blue. It's near to ultramarine blue. Well, because we used ultramarine violet. But yeah, so but more on the purple side. Okay, and let's also apply a lighter version of it here. Okay, next, ultramarine violet with ultramarine blue. So these two are similar. So it made the ultramarine blue more on the warmer side. It's actually very interesting. Normally I wouldn't really mix these two colors, but seeing them now here, if I like my ultramarine to be more, to have more pop to it, then I can add a little bit of the ultramarine violet and it gives me this nice vibrant kind of blue. Okay, next, ultramarine violet with phthalo blue. The phthalo blue is quite strong. Let me add a little bit more of the violet. So you also have to check that sometimes one color overpowers the other so much. So you might have to tweak the ratio a bit. So ultramarine violet, when mixed with the different blues, give you a quite similar kinds of blues. Very, very slight variations. Okay, next, ultramarine violet with Indian red. Okay, so this one I'm curious. Let's see what we get. Because your Indian red is a deep kind of red, so I'd like to see what purple it gives. Okay, I like it. So it's a very, very muted purple. Very warm kind of purple. So if I'm looking for this kind of purple, then I know already what to mix. Okay, next, ultramarine violet with raw umber. Let's add some violet. So all the different browns that you get, wonderful, right? It's just your raw umber mixed with different colors gives you so many different kinds of browns. So you can totally do a separate sheet with just mixing your different browns, mixing your different greens. Okay, let's apply the lighter one here again before I forget. I keep forgetting. It's like I get too excited seeing the colors here, I forget to do it here. Okay, next let's move on to Cerulean Blue. So we've now finished this side and we're moving here. Okay, so Cerulean Blue. With, okay, so that's why it's really important to have the labels. Okay, so we're starting with the very first, which is both Cerulean Blue meeting. And we'll apply a very, very light wash of Cerulean Blue. Okay, next, Cerulean Blue with Ultramarine. Okay, so mixing your different blues together, what do you get? So again, try to balance the ratio between the two so you get a nice mix that you actually want to record. So let's deepen it a bit more. Okay, so you get a very a bright blue, like cobalt blue. Okay, next, the lighter version of it here. So you actually want these two parts. I actually appreciate these two parts because sometimes you get like beautiful variations with the lighter tones that are just wonderful. Okay, next, Cerulean with Phthalo. So Cerulean is much softer than the other blues, so just be careful how you mix it with the other colors so they don't get Cerulean Blue doesn't get overwhelmed. Okay, so Phthalo Blue and Cerulean. Okay, let's add a bit more of Phthalo. So they're very similar. So you get this really vibrant, almost the same as Cerulean, but with a deeper undertone. Okay, now let's go to Cerulean with Indian Red. Okay, so let's see what kind of purplish color we get. Let's add a bit more. Okay, very deep kind of purple. Brownish, more on the brownish side. It's almost grayish actually, but with a hint of redness to it. Very interesting. I would never think of mixing these two to make a sort of warm gray, but it gives you a warm gray. It's actually very nice. Okay, next, Cerulean Blue with Raw Umber. Okay, that's too much Raw Umber. Let's add some more Cerulean. Okay, so this gives us a kind of bluish greenish. I like it. This is one of my discovery colors now. So Cerulean Blue with Raw Umber gives this greenish, really, I think, great for eucalyptus leaves kind of green. Okay, good to know. Next, let's go to Ultramarine now. Okay, so Ultramarine Blue with Ultramarine Blue. Okay, so let's just mix a washed version. So we're getting to the end, guys. Okay, so ultramarine with phthalo blue. So they're just side by side. Okay, let's see what we get. So it's actually nice to see also how the different blues look like when mixed together. Will be useful for when you do seascapes, for example, and you need lots of different blues just to play around with to make your seas even look more beautiful, add more depth to them. So it's always with using different tonal values, different mixtures, you get more depth. Okay, next, ultramarine blue with Indian red. Okay, let's make a deeper, much deeper mix of this because I really want to see it properly. Okay, there you go. Okay, so it's a very subtle kind of blue. This is what it gives you. It's actually kind of indigo. So ultramarine blue with Indian red gives you some kind of indigo. Interesting. Okay, now let's do a lighter version of it here. Okay, now ultramarine with raw umber. Okay, so this is a more neutral gray. This is what we get. So if you mix ultramarine blue with raw umber, you get a kind of neutral gray. Okay, I missed another one here. That will be cerulean and raw umber. So let me just do that so it's not weird. Okay. Okay, and now we're really getting to the end. 9 squares to fill in. Okay, so now we're going to phthalo blue with phthalo blue. Okay, very light here. Okay, that's too much. So as you can see, phthalo blue is very pigmented. So it means you also have to be careful when you're using this, when you're mixing it with your other colors. So use it sparingly because it tends to overwhelm the other colors very easily. Okay, so phthalo blue with Indian red. I'm just so amazed at the different colors I get, the different grays, the different browns. This is really the magic of creating a mixing chart. Colors that you never thought you would get from mixing other colors. Okay, next, phthalo blue with raw umber. Okay, so let's see what we get. Okay, so it's like a greenish gray, but warmer than this one. Next, let's go to Indian red. So again, just a really washed version here, very pale. Indian red with Raw Umber. Okay, let me just add more Raw Umber just to get a nice mix between the two. Okay, so when you mix them two, you get an even more chocolatey brown. So that's good. You have these two browns and you're like all set for your different browns for trees, for tree barks and branches. Okay, so before I forget, let me apply this one here. Okay, and then Raw Umber with Raw Umber, very pale. That's the last. Okay, so it took some time, but I think you will totally enjoy this when you do it. So here's the watercolor mixing chart of the classical palette. So from this palette, I got 10 different colors, and I tested them out by mixing them with each other, and I get this lovely chart of colors. So I like it because I really got to see the so many different greens, especially here when I mix it with a Indian red and Raw Umber. The colors that I get, some a bit purplish, some greenish, some more neutral. It's lovely because you will at some point need different colors for certain things, and when you have this, you can just consult it and just pick where the color that you like most likely, and just tweak it to maybe add more green or blue or whatever, and you get the color that you need for your painting. Okay, so you can actually also do if you go to, let me just find this quickly so I can share it to you guys. If you go to our site, we have a watercolor mixing guide. So it's titled How to Mix Watercolors, and it's very useful. It says everything that you need. It's like a great guide. Okay, so I'm just gonna add this here in the comments, and you can go there, you can find it, and you can download these charts. If you don't want to create your own charts, you can download this chart, and then another one, this one, that I actually use for mixing greens, browns, or other secondary colors that I want to even mix more of. So this one, you can do it this way. So for example, I have 5 blues and 5 yellows, and I wanted to find out what greens do I get from mixing these blues and yellows. So I put them here, the darker version of each color and the lighter side by side. And when I mix it with the yellow here, I also do the darker mix and the lighter mix. That way you actually really get to see the mixture properly, not just the deep mixture of it, but also the lighter one. So you can do something like this as well, and you will find this if you go visit this link that I just shared, How to Mix Watercolors Essential Guide. If you go there, yes, I suggest you do this on watercolor paper, because sometimes if you use regular paper, it might not spread well, or it might just stain on one area. But you can try. But if you really want to see it properly, how it would look like when you use it for your painting, then I could recommend using watercolor paper. You can just start with a 200 GSM paper. It doesn't have to be the best paper that you use for your special works. You can just start with your practice paper. Okay, so I have this cheaper paper that I use for this. It's just 200 GSM. It comes in a pack. So very cheap, but you actually get to see, if I bring it close, how it behaves as well on the paper, like how it spreads, how it granulates, and other properties that you actually want to see when you're mixing your colors. Because some colors, when you mix them, they're very beautiful. Like this one, I'm so surprised. So this is one of my new favorite discoveries now, Cerulean Blue with Raw Umber. Very pretty, nice, subdued, grayish, greenish color. Okay, so just go there. You can download all of this if you, of course, not all printers will take paper, thick paper, so you can just print it out, then put it over under your paper, and just go to the window, or if you have a light box, and just trace, you know. For this, I just really measured my paper and just divided it with the number of colors that I need, this way and this way. So you can do that too, very easy. But just in case you don't want to do all the rulers and stuff, then you can get the templates there in the article. Just visit and you can download. It's for free, so it's already there. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining me. Let me just pop this back to my face. Okay, so thank you for joining me. I know that was long, but it's a very useful discovery. I was discovering along with you because, as I mentioned, I haven't swatched in a watercolor chart this palette, Classico, and with just 10 colors you get 10 by 10, so amazing. So all these lovely colors you can get with just a few colors. So this might help you not to buy all the colors that you see, because you can actually mix already a lot from your from the colors that you have with you. Okay, as long as you have 2 yellows, 2 reds, 2 blues, warm and cool of each, you will get already so many different colors that you will need. So I hope this helped you out, and I hope you try it. And if you do share your discoveries, your charts. I would love to see, because we probably have different palettes and such, and you also will choose the colors that you will put in your chart if you don't want to chart them all. I would love to see your own wonderful discoveries. Okay, so visit the link and you can download the free guides. And thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye.